Kia ora, and welcome back, beautiful world. Welcome, Waikura.
Kia ora.
Hey guys, we are here for another episode of the Ride Your Stigma podcast. I'm pretty sure, if I'm right, we're number 17 today. So welcome back and thank you for listening. We are at a beautiful beach in the North Shore of Auckland today. So lucky us, getting some sun rays.
Yes ma'am, yes ma'am.
Had some kai and some kōrero this morning already. So welcome, Waikura. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, how we got here, and a bit of all that you are about?
Tēnā tātou e te iwi, ko Waikura Dunn tōku ingoa, he uri tēnei no te whare tapu o Ngāpuhi, no roto mai o Waikato, no kāwhia moana, kāwhia kai, kāwhia tangata, Ngāti Raukawa, Ngāti Toa Rangatira, Ngāti Kahungunu, no Te Aroa no Hoki. Kia ora, my name's Waikura Dunn and I am from the top of the North Island down to the bottom of the North Island. Who am I? I am a being here to create, learn and explore the universe. I think that's the best way that I could describe it. I teach Te Reo Māori online. I am also on a healing journey of the self and of others. Yeah.
Beautiful. A potent, beautiful, magical being here. So, thank you for introducing yourself, Waikura. For people like myself, could you tell me a little bit about what you just said?
Yes.
Just to catch everyone up that is still learning, yeah?
Yep. So, the Māori parts that I talked about is the understanding of where my people are from geographically. And that's how we connect back to our land. And if I was to go anywhere in the North Island at a pōwhiri or, you know, a group gathering of our people, it just lets everyone else know this is who I am, this is the people that I come from, and this is what I'm about.
Yeah, so like where you originated from, who you are, pretty much, yeah?
Yeah, my genealogy. That's a word.
Genealogy. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. So normally, Waikura, I jump in and kind of ask a few questions, but we'll just flow today.
Yeah.
And I suppose something I would love for you to share firstly is maybe some of the harder, darker, more challenging things in your journey. Could you share with us today, I suppose, some of the crunching moments, some of the breaking down to that breakthrough moments, and the hard stuff, the core stuff, that often the shadows and the things that we kind of avoid, if we're talking avoidance again, that you've had along your journey, so that I suppose the listeners can kind of understand a bit more about your journey and what challenges you've faced along the road.
Cool. So I guess we'll start at the beginning. Growing up, the hard parts for me was growing up without a father. My dad left my mum when I was 5, and what that journey did for me was took me through confusion of sexuality, confusion of identity, of the self, and also growing up in both Te Reo Māori and Te Ao Māori and the Western world. So when I was born, I was learning Te Reo Māori through my parents, and then I was learning English through my grandparents. So there was two different world views that I was having to juggle and look through as I was growing up. Some other hard parts? I think my sexuality has been a big impact in my journey and understanding where I fit in the world. I identify in Te Ao Māori, I call it a ia. In the native people of America, they call it two-spirit, and that is the flowing between the masculine and the feminine energies, both physically and emotionally. And until like 8 months ago, I had no understanding of that whatsoever.
That's a quick journey.
Yeah, yeah.
Like 8 months ago, that's really fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that happened when I sat so much in my feminine that my body broke down, kind of, and was letting me know this isn't who you are. This isn't what you're about. You are a mix of both. So stop trying to conform to you have to be a man, you have to be a woman, because that's not what your journey's about.
Would you mind sharing a little bit more about that story that you just shared with me before, Waikura, about how your body almost like broke down around it? Because that was really powerful how you shared that. Like, it really...
Yeah, so during COVID, I was exploring my physical appearance and how I wanted to dress and what that looked like for me. I was trying on dresses and getting into this comfortability of being feminine, and there was this one day where I had put on makeup, I had put on earrings and the jewelry, and I was wearing a dress, and I was very, very heavily sitting in this feminine energy. Came up to Auckland and met with my friends and stuff, and then that night I was going to sleep, and this is what I call I had COVID. I was going to sleep, and as I was driving home to go to sleep, my body started shutting down. It started restricting itself, so I got into bed and it felt like nothing within myself was flowing. And all I knew I could do at that point was lie there, sitting in pain, feeling everything and just breathing. And when I woke up the next morning, I was talking to a mentor that I have about it, and she said to me, when you sit too heavily in one side, for myself in my journey, and your body doesn't agree with it, that's what happens. And what that looked like to me was, okay, you have to be a man or you have to be a woman, and that was me choosing to be a woman, but my body being like, no, that's not who you are. Yeah.
It's big, eh?
Yeah, it really was.
So big. And
from then on, this understanding started to develop within myself about, okay, but what does that balance look like? Am I allowed to wear a dress and high heels? Am I only meant to wear a suit and tie? And I've come to a place now over the past couple weeks where I have understood you are the masculine and you are the feminine, and they both occupy the same space. They are both one person. They are not two completely separate beings. So the unity of self has happened within myself, and I'm now able to go out there, and if I choose to wear a dress today, I choose to wear a dress, and I'm not neglecting one for the other. I'm allowing that space to happen. Yeah.
And do I really have to choose one or the other, or why am I having, like, straight away, I almost got a little bit of fire in my chest then when you just said that about, oh, today I'm going to wear a dress. I'm like, and who the fuck chooses that feminine or masculine or male or female or whatever the fuck has to wear only shorts or only a dress or whatever, like, or only women wear earrings or whatever? Why does there have to be, society has created that for us in a sense of they've decided and then majority of us have followed until I feel like we are breaking more of a stigma these days, depending on your lifestyle and the people you connect with, though. Hey,
and it's that decolonization of the mind that continues going on as you stumble into it, because I think that's been the biggest impact. I have a mentor that I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening and how does this work? But for the majority of it, I'm going to a place and something happens, and that something gets this understanding, and I stumble, I trip over, and I pick myself up, and I learn the lessons from those fallings. So that's been the most empowering part of this journey, is allowing yourself to, we always have to know That's society's thing is you have to know where you're going. You have to know, I'm going to work.
You have to know who you are.
Yeah.
You have to know where you're living.
Yeah. But that journey, when you release that and just go, okay, well, today, what am I doing? Like for myself, I went clubbing last night and that went on until 4 o'clock this morning, and I was like, if I wake up for this podcast, it's meant to be. If I don't, then I'm very sorry for wasting your time.
But hey, you did it.
Yeah, and then, I woke up and the sun was shining and I was like, cool, this is what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
And just allowing that to happen is what's been moving me through these hard times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing, Waikura, when you're kind of talking into that is a lot around that we change every day. That we are changing beings every single day. We also stay the same and never change at our core essence or magic that we have. That never changes. It's always the way that we are and who we are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can hear like learning to flow with the change and that whatever comes and adapt to those changes, and that today we may like and enjoy this one thing and we may feel like this part of the person that we are, and then tomorrow we're someone totally different but the same.
Yeah.
And that it's okay, and being accepting or learning to be accepting and surrender and trust that as well.
Yeah.
That who we are each day is who we are meant to be.
Yeah, and that's where the funny thing is what you mentioned about who you are at your core. I think I wanted to name this because she allows us to have the title. Who do you think you are? Because on the inside, you know who you are, and the journey is about going through those stages and those phases until who you know who you are and who you think you are align.
Can you say that again? That was good.
So we go through the stages, we know who we are to our core, and the journey is about going through the stages of who you think you are until who you think you are and who you know you are align. Yeah. And then that's when you're sitting completely in your power, in your understanding of this is my purpose. This is where I'm meant to be. And society is like, no, you have to know now. But this knowing now to the knowing on the inside is completely different. Yeah.
Well, hard luck if I don't know, because I don't know, bro. It's like, cool, you're telling me I have to know and I don't know, so what are you going to do? Tell me off or put shame on me and make me wade through the challenges again? And then we'll face them, hey? Yeah, that's so big. So before Waikura, we were talking a little bit, I suppose, about pronouns. So I would love you to share your your thoughts and ideas or your perception and beliefs around them. Because obviously I feel like, I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot in our society now, like for example my Instagram, I've got she, her on mine, like trying to support more and into different parts of community and identification and pronouns and all those things, but I feel like sometimes they're just kind of chucked around or they're just put out there. But what do they really mean to you if someone is out there trying to learn about it or bring more awareness, or they're in their own journey? Could you share something that might help the way that you personally have?
So, this is the funny thing. I hate labels. That is something that ever since being young and being called gay, and that perception and what it did to me made me think, okay, well, I have to be the complete opposite of what these people are telling me. And I remember us having a conversation a couple weeks ago about being rebellious. Are you going to tell me I'm one thing? Well, since I'm going to go that way. So, and that's all part of the journey. But I guess because we live in today's society where pronouns are really are seen as really important for people to not step on each other's toes, explore. That's the only thing that I can say is explore if it feels good. Like for myself, coming to the understanding of ear, in English that refers to it. That's how I understand it. Or them over there. That's my understanding of ear. But it's come a long way from, okay, I'm a he. I'm a he, I'm a he, I'm a he. Okay, I'm going to turn into a she. I'm a she, I'm a she, I'm a she. And then, you know, that transition and allowing that transition to happen, you don't have to know. You don't have to know, but if this is comfortable in this time, then as you said before, as we change and we grow, then the comfortability will change and grow. Yeah, so I think just allowing yourself to not be held down, but to have an understanding, this is where I'm at. Yeah.
It's big, eh? And when you said something there, you said something about step on toes or something. And as soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, I've quite often had random little bits of, like, not big fear, but random little bits of fear when I'll meet someone and I just see people as they are, like we were talking about before. I don't see someone as he, she, them, they, this person, blah, 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 straight, this way, that way. I don't see people like that. I see people as the people that they am. Like, I see you as Waikura Dunn. That's why you are Waikura to me. But in the past, I suppose, I've been in some situations, Waikura, where I've almost had internal fear come up because I'm like, oh, well, what if I accidentally say the wrong thing? Or how do I label them? How do I go up to someone? And I've even had experiences, I suppose, when there's other people around me that they've known that someone else has been going through a transgender thing or a changing identity or something like that, and they've gone, oh, I think they're this, but they're not that. And I'm like, why don't you ask them? And then they're like, oh no, because I don't want to offend them. What if they're not? And so there is a lot of, I suppose, I've witnessed a lot of fear come up in not just myself but in other people, not wanting to step on toes. But I'm like, generally I think I'm quite lucky because I'm confident enough that I'll gently ask someone if I don't know. I'm like, hey, sorry, I don't want to be of any offence, but I want to also get it right. What do you want to go by? What works for you? But a lot of people, I feel like, in our society definitely struggle with that, having the confidence to, because they find it awkward or not sure or things like that. Would you have any recommendations to people that, I suppose, how to approach that at all?
Generally, especially with people that do identify as something other than he and she, there's a read the room about it, you know, because you can see the way, and I'm not sure how this is for most people. And
everyone's different, we're all different. An individual.
Yeah, but for myself, it's, okay, if I am going to ask this question, how are the people that this person is interacting with, how are they with this person? You know, because with our queens, it's like, hey girl, how you doing? Da, da, da. So you know that there's something else there. But if they're more reserved and quiet and keeping to themselves, then you know, okay, cool. Well, this person seems a bit reserved. They may not want to have this conversation.
I was just going to say, it's not even about the identification or the pronoun in this situation. It's about read the energy of the person, the connection, all the body language, the personality of the person. So it's about the fucking person. It comes back to the person.
Yeah. And because the only other thing that I can say is you have to ask.
Don't assume.
If you are scared about it, then breathe through that fear. If there is anxiousness about it, then breathe through the anxiousness, but you have to ask. Otherwise you're just sitting there assuming, oh, this person's a they them, and then this person's actually it, you know, or a she or a he. So and
then that makes me think assumption. I'm like, but our society has frickin' built us on assumption that I am a female. Because I look like a female, the picture that we have drawn in our society, so that's who I am. Because I was thinking before when you were talking, I was like, do you know what? I honestly am just Maddie. I'm like, I identify as she, her, but at the same time I'm like, do you know what? I don't even care about my identification. I just want to be Maddie. That's who I want to be. Like, I don't need an identification label, as you say, me personally. And so everyone has a different, and then for some people it might be really, really, really important through their journey, through their healing, through their hurt, through feeling like they are mislabeled. That may be something really, really important for other people.
And for myself, I have family and friends. I tell them, call me how you feel me. If you feel that I'm a he to you, then I'm a he to you. And then I have like nephews when I was going through my feminine journey that called me auntie. So they now still call me auntie and I get called uncle, and you know. So however the person feels is how it should be, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a saying, the clothes makes the person doesn't make the clothes.
Say again?
The clothes makes the person doesn't make the clothes. And I just had this understanding about it. Society has made it so wearing a dress or a skirt is a girl thing. So, okay, that's my association to a girl. Wearing pants and a suit is a guy thing. Okay, that's my association to a guy.
Yeah.
And that's the real potency of the physical, because in today's society, it really determines how you move. In Te Ao Māori, when you're going to a pōwhiri or a welcoming ceremony, back in the days, the chief was the one that had the feathers in the hair.
Because that was his role.
Yeah, and today's role, it's like the most well-dressed guy or girl is the head of the leader of the group.
Yeah.
So also looking at the type of clothes that the person's wearing gives the understanding of where they're at in their journey and how you can approach it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big. Thank you.
Very welcome.
Super big. What other, I suppose, deep core bits are there in your journey, Waikura, that you would like to share? So we've got this big part here, or
Yeah.
this piece
Yeah.
that is your sexuality and what we've been talking about, and a lot of your feminine and your masculine and things like that. What other essence has your journey and your story kind of written for you so far?
A big part of my journey has been my connection with my dad, and how that shaped me into being the amazing being that I am today, and also the father wounds that I carry with myself because of that journey. So growing up, my dad, when he left, that was like the biggest break in me as a child. That's where my development for hate became strong. Whenever I would see him, every 5 minutes we were fighting and punching each other and arguing and that type of stuff. He wasn't punching me, I was punching him. I was like, no, fuck you. No, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in this space. But in the beautiful parts of him, he nurtured me and he taught me how to be emotional. He taught me how to open up myself to the possibilities of the world. So there are two very different but distinct characteristics and emotions that he brought out within me. Throughout my growing up from 5 to 17, there was a massive love-hate relationship there. And when I turned 15, 16, 17, I went through a massive depression because of sexual abuse. And what that did for our relationship was allow me and him to connect again, because broken people can hear broken people. Whereas where I was living at the time, you know how in society it's very much, I don't hear no evil, I don't see no evil. You just keep moving on. You don't look at your feelings, you don't analyze anything, you don't allow yourself to breathe in the process, you just have to carry on. That's not what I needed. And at the time, I moved up to Auckland when I was 17, and I lived with him for 5 years and cultivated this amazing relationship and growth and connection to both him and to Te Ao Māori, back to the environment, the taiao, our traditions, our tikanga, our guidelines and our way of being. So he's been a massive part of my journey. And more recently, he has, I think it's been 10 months he's been in jail. So the impact that having these 5 years of growing and trusting and allowing ourselves, we talk about everything, you know, from sex to trauma to what we want to do in the world and how we want to move and that type of stuff. But as we were talking beforehand, people grow at their own pace. And where I was growing and where he was growing were two completely different spaces and paces. So when it got to him going into jail in that process, he started reclusing himself, and the potency of that is when he was convicted, we went to the courthouse, he was convicted of his charges and found guilty, and I shut back down into that 17-year-old that felt like he wasn't heard, he wasn't seen. And I've been moving through that, as well as with my sexuality, trying to come to terms with, okay, who am I without this man that has both taught me such amazing things and has brought out the most pain within my journey? Who am I? Because he's not there to talk to. When we are on the phone, it's like, hi, how are you? Oh, what's it like? And then, like, what are you up to? There's no, this is how I'm feeling. This is, you know, so having to take that journey alone, even through the phases of being 5 to 17 without him and with him, to the 5 years being with him and now coming back to being without him, taking that journey alone has been the most solidifying impact of, well, who the fuck am I? You're the one that taught me about my people and the way that I am, as much as my mum did. She was a beautiful example of a staunch feminine in her masculine, but the emotional connection to our culture was missing from there that I gained from my dad. Yeah, so that's been a big impact.
It's huge, eh?
Yeah.
What a journey.
Yeah.
So big, and it almost, correct me if I'm wrong, Waikura, but the way you kind of explained that, it almost feels like when your dad has gone away, it's almost like you've lost a piece of yourself, that maybe he became a piece of what you thought was you,
Yeah.
and then you had to find this new piece yourself, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's the core of the father wound, and even the mother wound. Whenever you have those, it feels like you are lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the mum goes away emotionally or physically, then there's that part of the growing up with a parent and a child. You know, that nurturing space gets lost, and the child's like, okay, I don't have this anymore. Where can I get it? And for me, it's been through sex. You know, sex has been my way to fill that gap, that hole that I've had with him, in the most toxic, unclean way for myself.
Well, I was going to ask, I was like, in a healthy way, an unhealthy way, a coping mechanism way, or a bit of both, bit of healing?
Yeah, 5 years, while I was growing with him, I still did feel a disconnect, and that's where my hoe phase came out, and I became that bitch. And that was really healing and explorative and unclean. You know, I've learned that sex is a sacred thing, and not sacred in the sense that you only do it when you're married. Sacred in the sense that if you are giving your energy to someone else in that way, that's the closest way that two souls can be together. Make sure you're doing it with the right intentions. I had been celibate for a year, the year just gone.
Wow.
Yep, and that was to help me find myself more. And then at the beginning of this year, and this is the first time that I'd ever said this, I said, I am conscious of the sexual entanglement that I'm getting myself into, and I understand that there are consequences, and I take those responsibilities on fully with the consciousness of my mind. And it was the most mind-blowing, mind-opening experience to my own kinks and myself more. Yeah, so that was very healing for me in that sense, and it's just trying to find that balance. Yeah.
It is, it's really big. And when you were saying that, all I could think of was with my mentor, she does a womb healing, which I don't know how much you know about womb healing, but regardless whether you have ovaries or woman physicality or men physicality, you still have a womb of some sort, an energetic womb, etc. So she talks about like a womb healing, and I've done one in the ocean myself with the waves and stuff like that, like a womb clearing kind of ceremony, from past partners and my past and things like that as well, from different sexual encounters. And when I feel like when our society is a lot younger and we're just unconscious and we don't know, and we haven't, like, you don't go to school and they educate about the spirituality or the energy or the connection transfer through any sort of sexual intertanglement. What did you say before? Did I get that right? Entanglement. I tried to get it because it sounded good. Of any sharing, and I think back to when I was younger in different sexual experiences and stuff, when literally all I had learned was from stuff at school, and I didn't know. And then you look now at the relationships that we have, and I'm like, wow, you wonder why I either have heaps of energy after I've had some interaction with my partner, or I'm absolutely exhausted and I'm so drained, because you become one, like your energy, everything is intertangled, and we share that. So if we're sharing our bodies, our energies, our souls with someone that isn't aligned with us, or the intentions aren't right, or we're not on the same page, or they are in a really dark space and we're in a very clear space, it is going to make it murky. So being intentional about choosing, and really the deep communication around, like, what do we want out of this? Is this for just physical pleasure? Is this for spiritual pleasure, for comfort, for safety, for release? What is it for? Why are we here? So it's big.
Yeah, it really is. And the way that sex is now in today's society, I don't think that will be a thing for a lot of people. And something that I've learned is the person you sleep with, you're going to be carrying the things from the people that they've slept with as well.
Becomes a chain.
Yeah. Especially, like, I do cleansings in my bath with different herbs and fruits and vegetables. No, lemon's not a vegetable. You know, the different herbs and stuff like that, to help those clearings happen. But a lot of the time you can feel it, you know, and as you were saying, you can feel that high energy or that low energy, and it's such a buzzy experience to see when you're there.
And to notice when it transfers, whether it's from yourself to someone else or from them towards you, and actually just noticing and going, oh wow, okay, that's actually mine. Or it's just, wow, that is not mine, that's just come through or transferred through. It's really big, that's huge. So Waikura, after sharing that, would you like to share some other parts of, like, how you've kind of healed or worked through, or things that have helped you learn to come through these parts of your journey?
The biggest thing that I have used and have continued to implement is perseverance, because I believe that there is no journey harder than that, other than walking the journey itself. I could agree on that one.
And
there have been times where I have wanted to give up, and that the perseverance, or that knowing, okay, this is something good for me, this is something that's going to help me help other people, has been my biggest focus. It's always been for the next generation. So in Te Ao Māori, we think 10 generations before us and 10 generations after us.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's how we move in our spaces. So whatever I'm doing today is going to affect the next 10 generations. And the healing work that I'm doing today has released the past 10 generations and that type of space. So that's been my focal point of, okay, you still got to do this. Some tips is to be gentle. Through every stage that you go through, I was very, very adamant, okay, I'm going to heal. Everything else in my world faded away. You know, my connection with my family, my relationship with God, my relationship with Eeyore, you know, everything around me and about me faded apart from I gotta heal. And it made me really selfish and egotistical to the point where I was like, I'm healing so much, you're not doing enough work. Like, come on. Like, I'm better than you type of mindset. So being gentle with that journey allows both the ego and the intuition and the spirit to move together instead of one going forward and then the other one having to catch up.
I was going to say, I'm almost hearing like, in a form, almost like obsessive healing, like overwhelm healing.
Yeah.
To a point that if I do this enough, I will be enough and everything will be accepted and I'll be healed. Like, because I've been through phases like that in my journey, I think, where I've been like, oh my God, I'm doing all these things, so why doesn't everyone else want to heal as much as me? Come on, hurry up.
It's very much like that, especially when you're in a trauma space mindset. You know, it's like, I gotta get better so people will love me.
Totally.
And there are so many different modalities that I've used.
Yeah. What would be, pick your top three. What would be your top three that you...
My top three, my first one is singing.
Singing!
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Being able to release through the voice is... I don't even know. You can't explain it. I don't think I could ever explain what singing does for me. But that's been something that, if it's to get anger out, if it's to reconnect with myself, if it's to let sadness out, you know, all these different emotions you can get through singing. And you can word it. I think that's the biggest
Expression
thing.
through your words.
Yeah. My second one is the taiao. Water is the healer of the earth.
Taiao?
Taiao, yeah.
Taiao?
Yeah.
So what is that? Is that water?
Taiao is environment.
Environment.
Yeah.
Taiao.
Whether it be the water, the mountains, the wind, the trees, you know, the connection to our environment has been healing. Every process of healing that I've been through, I have had a ceremony in the water to help move those energies and release that. Whether it be in a bath, whether it be at the beach, in a stream, even, you know, this little trickling water behind us, the environment is, you know, Mother Earth, she heals and replenishes herself, so how can she not do the same for us? Because she can. And my third one would be talking about it. Whether it be talking about it through writing, talking about it through poetry, talking about it through movement of the body, just talking about your experiences and getting it out of your head.
Sharing outwards.
Yeah.
Having a voice.
Yeah.
Being able to be seen with your own voice. Hey?
Yeah, that's those three things have been the things that have helped me.
They're potent. The last two, the singing, I don't so much relate to because I don't sing as much, but dancing replaces that for me. Like how you were describing that before. I did a live stream just yesterday after my dance class explaining how much my body, my soul, my emotions speak through my dancing and through music. So I really, 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 really get that, and I don't understand how someone can't have any connection to singing or music or dance of some sort. And then definitely environment, like after you saying that, I'm like, oh yeah, I use the environment way more than I ever actually think. Like, yeah, I come to the beach and have time out and things like that, but when you say that, I'm like, I use it way more, like at the energetic environment. So if I'm all cluttered and there's shit everywhere and I need to clean out my room and there's rain, it's my environment, and I like to have my window open so I can feel the fresh air and listen to the birds outside and all of that. And anyone that knows me and is listening to the podcast will know that speaking is one of my biggest tools, and it's really deep and healing, just sharing and listening to other people. And when we share, it just shifts something different in us when we can speak exactly what we're feeling without shame, without judging ourselves or trying to change ourselves, just sharing naturally what we want to share and what we need to share.
Yeah. And even, having those things, the shame, the guilt, the fear, the anxiety, but speaking to it and speaking, okay, if this is how I'm feeling, then that's how I'm feeling, Yeah,
accepting. We talked a little bit about that the other week, about the more, I suppose, labelled negative emotions or thought patterns, and sitting with them and allowing. It's interesting, I actually talked about that on the live stream yesterday too, about how when we feel in those certain more deeper, heavier emotions, listening to music that brings it out, that we're not wallowing in it, but we're allowing it to be felt and seen and heard, and to be seen, and giving it attention, giving those shadow parts attention. All the shadows want is some attention.
Yeah, very much
just
so.
Like we give our light parts attention.
Yeah, and I think a good advice is, if your shadow part needs 2 weeks to be expressed, allow that space to happen. Obviously, right time, right place, but allowing that part of you to express itself to its heart's content until it's finished is a really big...
Don't rush it.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people, and myself included, in my journey, it was like, I feel depressed. Okay, I'm depressed because blah, 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 finished. Okay, the world expects me to be happy when I'm out. You know, the world expects me to put on this face in this show. So I'll do that, and then I forget about the depression that's still there, and I go home and I'm like, yeah, I'm still really, really happy. Oh, shit.
Oh, really? Yeah. And giving, like, what I can hear is like that, giving true integration time. Giving true processing time, that, everyone grieves and everyone feels at different paces and times, and they go in waves. Like, I feel like I'm not a pre-griever, but maybe it is, I don't know. Almost like a pre-griever. Like, I grieve things when I feel them already coming and they haven't even happened yet. For example, other people in my life, they grieve them after they've lost things. And that's the way other people grieve. But, like, for example, I left a nanny job, not last year but the year before, and it was on not very nice circumstances through the world stuff, and it broke my freaking heart. And before I had even left, when I could feel it starting to move, my heart was breaking, and I needed like a week at home in bed, because I knew I wasn't going to see this little girl ever again in my life, and she had become my little soul sister. And I was like grieving and grieving and grieving and grieving, and then once it actually happened, the family was then grieving, and I was like, bye, because I was ready. I had processed early, because that's the way I processed. But again, everyone processes and has integration at different times. And it also reminds me, Waikura, with like my herpes diagnosis stuff, I don't really often have it anymore, but I used to go through phases of like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and I was like, I'm all G, like whatever, herpes that, whatever, support some people, like cool as, and then all of a sudden something would hit me. I go, oh fuck, and then just all of a sudden I'm like grieving all these different parts of myself, shame and stigma and frustration at the outer world about stigmas and things and then suddenly I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we do. We integrate and we process things all in our own individual way. Hey.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
You are not the same as the person next to you. You're not the same as your mum or your dad, even though you get traits from them.
Yes.
So acknowledging that is a big thing.
Yeah.
It's a big part of the journey, because once you acknowledge that, then you can actually finally start moving into, okay, well, what do I like? You know, am I just saying yes because that's what I've been taught to do?
Yeah. It's ingrained in me. It's
Yeah.
my imprint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. I've got 2 more questions for you before we jump off today, Waikura.
Yes, ma'am.
The first question is, where would people find you if they want to share their journey with you, or they want to hear more about your journey and connect with you? Would you be able to tell everyone where they could find you?
Yes, so I have, over my healing journey, I have started this podcast or sharing space, and it's called Just Some Real Talk. You can find that on my Facebook and my Instagram. My Instagram's Waikura.Dunn, or you can just search in Just Some Real Talk. And also for healing, whether it be tarot readings or healing through sound or through prayer, you can find me on He Wai Māori on both Facebook and Instagram.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we'll put those links into the description as well, so that you guys can find Waikura easily as well. And then my last question for you today, Waikura, is, what golden piece of advice would you like to share with listeners or people that are meant to listen to your sharing today, that you wish you had heard, or that you feel that would help them on their journey if they're going through something similar or different, or just feeling called to listen to your journey? What would you share with our world?
The funny thing about this one is nothing.
Nothing?
Yep.
Damn, I've never heard that one. I love it.
Because through the conversations, you take what you need. Take whatever it is, whether it's the whole conversation that we've just had, or you know, one small part of the conversation. And this isn't just with myself, this is with everyone. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And when you said nothing, then I was like, nothing? And then I was like, nothing, because we have to learn on our own journey, and no one can give us any amount of advice or do this and do that and use this, because our own journey is ours to create, and we're the ones who decide and give our own advice to ourselves. Hey?
Okay, sorry, I do got it now, because my brain was like, why are you saying nothing? You are your own teacher.
Yeah.
You are your own teacher. You are the person that takes in whatever information you take in and put out whatever information you put out, whether it's through your head, through your heart, through your mouth. Yeah, you are your own teacher.
Thank you so much. You are your own teacher. Thank you, Waikura. Thank you so much for coming here today and sharing all your vulnerability, all your courage, all your magic with us. I can't wait to share this, because I think a lot of people out there are going to really enjoy this and be able to relate. So thank you so much, and we may even have you back soon.
Yes, ma'am. I'm definitely keen for another one, and thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Thank you for allowing this space to cultivate itself.
Thank you so much, and see you guys later.
Okay,
We will
great.
see you again. Bye.